You spent $47 to avoid paying $5. And somewhere in a glass office, a data scientist just smiled. You know exactly what this moment looks like. You're at checkout. Cart total sits at $38. Then a small banner appears, the kind that's been designed, tested, and optimized by a team of behavioral researchers, and it says, "You're just $12 away from free shipping." Your brain stops calculating what you actually need. It starts calculating what you could justify. A candle, some batteries, that $14 thing you bookmarked 3 weeks ago and forgot about. 40 seconds later, you've spent $52 to avoid a $5.99 shipping fee. Here's the thing that should bother you. You walked away feeling like you won. That's not a shopping habit. That's something else entirely. And it has nothing to do with discipline, nothing to do with your income, and nothing to do with how smart you are. It's about what happened to your brain about 200,000 years before Amazon existed. There are 3 specific ways free shipping is engineered to cost you more than paid shipping ever would. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how the trap was built, and more importantly, what the wire actually looks like before your foot is inside it. But first, something that might feel uncomfortable. Every time you see the words free shipping, your brain doesn't process it as a delivery option. It processes it as a threat, a survival signal, the kind that reads, "If I don't grab this now, I lose something." That response is automatic, pre-rational, and it runs whether you want it to or not. Here's why. A researcher at Duke University once set up a candy stand and offered students a choice: a premium chocolate truffle for 15 cents or a basic candy for 1 cent. Most people chose the truffle. That makes sense, better product, still cheap, clear value. Then he dropped both prices by exactly 1 cent. The truffle was now 14 cents. The basic candy was now free. Suddenly, 69% of people switched to the cheaper candy, even though the truffle was objectively still the better deal by every measurement that exists. That wasn't a preference change. No one suddenly fell in love with the inferior chocolate. What changed was a single digit. 0 appeared. And the moment 0 appeared, the part of the brain responsible for rational comparison temporarily went offline. Behavioral economists have a name for this. They call it the zero price effect. But here's the part the textbooks leave out. This isn't a modern cognitive glitch. This is ancient survival firmware that was deeply, evolutionarily useful for an extremely long time. Your brain was built for scarcity. For thousands of years, the overwhelming majority of human history, the rule was simple. If something costs nothing, you take it. Every time. Because in the environment your nervous system was designed for, free food wasn't a promotion. It was a rare windfall, an unexpected fruit tree, a water source in a dry season, a moment of abundance in a world where abundance was the exception. The creatures that hesitated at those moments didn't leave descendants. The ones that grabbed immediately did. You are here because your ancestors were extraordinary at taking free things the moment they appeared. The problem is that the people who designed the checkout page you're staring at also know this. They studied the research. They ran the tests. They watched the data, and they built an entire machine around 8 words. You're just $12 away from free shipping. That's not a notification about delivery options. That's a snare. The bait is on the ground, the wire is invisible, and your foot, your ancient, survival-optimized, freebie-grabbing foot, is already moving toward it. Now here's where online shopping behavior gets genuinely strange. Most people assume they overspend on free shipping thresholds because they're impulsive, or undisciplined, or not paying close enough attention to their budget. That's not what the research shows. The real mechanism is something called mental accounting. Your brain doesn't process money as a single unified pool. It organizes spending into separate mental categories, and shipping fees land in a category your brain labels as an unnecessary penalty. Not the product, Not the total, just the fee. This is why paying $38 for something and $6 for shipping registers differently than paying $44 for the same thing with free delivery, even though the math is identical. The fee feels like punishment. The purchase feels like a choice, and choices feel like control, even when they're quietly costing you more. So when you spend an extra $14 on filler items to avoid a $6 fee, your brain doesn't record that as "I spent $14 unnecessarily." It records it as "I made a decision that gave me something and saved me from a penalty." That's a win. Twice. Except you paid for it in a way you didn't feel. Run the actual numbers on your last 90 days of online purchases. Add up every item you added to a cart specifically to reach a free shipping threshold. Don't estimate, actually add them up. For people who shop online regularly and track this honestly, that number tends to land between $40 and $120 per month. Not because they wanted those items, because a banner told them they were $12 short of a reward. And here's the trap inside the trap. That threshold isn't arbitrary. It wasn't placed at $35 or $50 because those are convenient round numbers. It was calculated. Retailers analyze the average cart value of their customers, then set the free shipping minimum just slightly above it, close enough that you feel like you almost made it, far enough that you need to add something. That almost there feeling activates what researchers call the goal gradient effect. The closer you are to a goal, the harder your brain pushes to complete it. Lab rats run measurably faster through a maze as they approach the food at the end. Human beings spend more as they approach a cart threshold. The acceleration is biological, not rational. The bar wasn't put there for your convenience. It was positioned specifically because your brain behaves like that rat, and the food is free shipping. Now layer Amazon Prime over this. You paid the annual fee. Your brain has now applied the sunk cost instinct. You already spent the money, so you need to use the benefit enough to justify what you paid. This makes you buy things you wouldn't otherwise buy them faster, and evaluate them with far less scrutiny. Prime members spend, on average, more than double what non-members spend on the platform annually. The free shipping didn't save them money. It restructured how they shop, at a level most people never consciously notice. The uncomfortable version of this is one sentence. Most people are paying more to access free shipping than they would have spent simply paying for shipping. The math almost never works in the shopper's favor. The only scenario where it does is if you were going to buy exactly what you bought at that price, regardless of the threshold. But the threshold changed what you bought. That's the entire design. So what actually breaks this? 3 things, and none of them require willpower. The first is brutal in its simplicity. Calculate the total before you add anything. When you see just $12 more for free shipping, open your calculator before you open your cart. Add the price of the item you actually want, plus the shipping fee. Then add the price of whatever you're considering as filler. If the filler costs more than the shipping, which it almost always will, you are literally spending more to get free delivery than you would have by just paying for it. The math makes the decision for you. The second, treat shipping as part of the product's price, not a separate line item. Your brain splits them into different mental buckets. You have to force them back together. If the product is $37 and shipping is $6, write $43. Say $43, think $43. The moment you unify them, the penalty framing disappears. You're just buying a $43 item. Is it worth it? That's the only question. The third, and the one most people skip, because it sounds too simple, wait 24 hours before adding any item to reach a threshold. The urgency you feel when that banner appears is manufactured. The countdown in your brain, grab this now before someone else does, is the same ancient signal your ancestors felt near a fruit tree. It is not relevant to your actual situation. Waiting 24 hours doesn't mean you miss a deal. It means you find out whether you actually wanted the item or whether you were simply responding to bait. Here's what changes when you start doing these 3 things consistently. Your online spending habits don't just shrink, your relationship with the word free starts to shift entirely. You stop reading free shipping as an offer and start reading it as a question. How much will this actually cost me? The banner loses its grip. The urgency fades. You buy what you intended to buy, spend what you intended to spend, and leave without the strange, hollow feeling of victory that turns out to be a loss. You start to see the wire before your foot is inside it. Here's what to sit with after this. Free shipping is just one version of the mechanism. The same zero price effect, the same goal gradient trap, the same mental accounting blind spot. They show up in subscription-free trials, in buy two, get one free, in loyalty points that expire if you don't use them, in the complimentary gift that requires a $75 minimum purchase. Everywhere the word free appears in a commercial setting, there is math that was calculated before you arrived. The offer was not designed to help you spend less. It was designed to make you spend more in a way that feels exactly like winning. The people who consistently manage their online shopping budget without feeling deprived aren't more disciplined than you. They just learn to recognize the snare before they're inside it. Now you know what the wire looks like.